Namaskar. Today it's December the 25th, 2023. It's around 12:30 afternoon. Noon is 12 afternoon. So I'm in a pensive mood. I'm thinking, I'm analyzing because I'm single, I prefer to remain single because you have the ability to turn the light of the mind, the torchlight of the mind inwards. You introspect, you analyze, you think a lot, So it's like Sri Yukteswar was saying. He said, "He who is married careth for the things of the world. He who remains unmarried careth for the things of the Lord God." And in this context, I would like to say, as a person who is attempting to lead a religious life, he would like to follow religious rules, meaning divine rules. And the divine system is higher than the human. It's higher than the animal. The human often identifies himself at the intellectual stratum, measuring himself according to his intellectual achievements, how much he exerted on the journey of life towards in the academics, how much certificates, how much universities, how much activities he has achieved and performed. And these are usually graded and according to a system of measurement. He's given us an A class, student of B class, and so on. Now, this is an intellectual arena, but this kind of conjecture doesn't hold. It doesn't, it's not what we should say sustaining, because through the journey of life you may lose your intellect. It depends how you live your life. For example, if you lose a lot of your vira, your limp, the mind intellect diminishes like a bulb that uses up its wattage, joules. So it's you lose up, you burn up your own electricity, your own current, and you become all fried up. So I've seen many people all around me who've become fried up. They've enjoyed their youth, they've enjoyed their life as it lasted, but they didn't know how to sustain the beauty of their incarnation, the human incarnation. You have to know how to take care of it, because it will betray you, it will fail you. Personally, I was a wonderful person in my early life, growing up. I did well at exams. I had an environment where my mother and father were working, so I was able to expand naturally. I was able to grow naturally in a fertile environment where the caretakers and the watchers were medical people mostly. Though my father was a policeman, I had an opportunity to grow in a military environment, mostly I guess that's why my personality is more softer. It's more kind of light. There's healing energy sometimes growing in that environment, So coming into another environment as I become older, I didn't realize there was a difference from people who grew up in the open society until I realized the dangers and the situation in the outer society, the world, the competition, the gradation of consciousness, the unpolished behavior, attitude, the habits, the culture. All these things give definition to a human, his mind, his conduct. Some humans are even driven by dark forces, dark energy that causes them to steal, to kill, to plunder, to attack good people, to have a kind of vicious nature. Is not really good or becoming. So given a proper and a good environment, a human being will be able to bring out what is good in him, his genius, his intellect, and so on. But if this has been used up and all fried up by activities and culture that is not what we could say supportive, what happens is that you will start to fail in your intellectual analysis of life. your vivek and will be this blurred. What the spiritual people say vivek means discrimination, your ability to decipher, to analyze, to shift, to calculate, to measure will be foggy, become misty. This is a terrible crisis you'll be in if you don't know what's right from wrong. Hence, spiritual culture is essential from an early age. And coupled with that, if you have a family that is educated, maybe in the Western sense, it has its own advantages. Those, in fact, those who are simple, uneducated, and they practice spirituality in a spiritual environment, in a spiritual country, they have advantages also with the simplicity of that mind. They will be more likable, more charismatic, they will move faster on the spiritual path and so on. But coming from an intellectual family, you will be endowed with virtues, with habits, behaviors, with we can say remorse, a conscience, right? And I find it is lacking since having come to live in the outside world, moving out from institution, what they call gated community, gated government institution, or coming in the open. It's a very disturbing affair, you know. There are people around who are trying to connect in a most disconcerting manner. Sometimes you would think, oh, I'm not social enough, you're not social enough. But one is better off being himself, as himself, than if you were to prod and poke in other people's personality. You would see their cross that they're carrying is much more heavier, you know. So you are being endowed with your own blessings, your own characteristics, your own glory, you know, that you're born at a certain point, a certain advancement, a certain development. Though the rivalries may be coming from others, like who are more intelligent, people feel they have more certificates, they came from a rich home, a cultured home, but the culture is not there. The spiritual culture, the human grace, the human fulfillment was not cultivated, you know. The human side, the spiritual side was not encouraged. So you find that despite your physical strength, you might be exercising every day, be a physical trainer and training enthusiast, and despite your intellectual achievement in the society, the community, things like your memory may fail, your concentration, your intellectual, your intuition. People like these, usually when they collapse and they lose their acumen, their God-given natures, they start to become very repulsive. They try to take energies from others, they try to fight against others going up, and they still would try to operate from that level they had, trying to get the best, trying to take away from others also because they feel they're better, they're the best, though they may have become incapacitated and so on. So we have a terrible situation in society. People are struggling for themselves, for their children, for their friends, for their well-wishers. And sometimes you wonder if, as people define life as a rat race, life is survival of the fitness. You know, people are ready to fight at the level of death. You know, to kill each other, to shed blood on these points, on these grounds, you know. So there's no fairness involved. There's no rightness. There's just what will lie before, what will become available in the next year, the next 2 years, the future. For you, for me, for my friends, for others. So this is how people are preparing, and people are accumulating or expanding their boundaries at the expense of others. And so, you know, there's no show of sensitivity, of virtue, caring for others, or living upright, decent, so that the Spirit of God could enter into us. Good conduct, good ethics is what the English taught Guyanese here when they or ruling, and this is passed down to us. We've learned to be good, to be virtuous, to struggle, study, to become good people, and to achieve, and so on. But when this goes away and we fight against those things, we have a lawless society evolving, society without norms. There are no people in a society who can give direction, who can show the way, because the foundation is not there. Nobody built upon a divine foundation, a spiritual foundation. A man-making foundation was not set. So we just study, we accumulate what we get, and we try to make life by seeing what other successful nations are doing, what other famous popular people are doing, at the same time neglecting our own effort to improve ourselves. Once Swamiji was speaking at the ashram there at Cove. He was telling me, he said people have to work for their own energy, for their own life, for their own fulfillment. You can't take other people or drain other people's energies without their consent, without their gift, giving it as a gift or a friendship. People usually give their virtues, their life energy, their positivity as an act of friendship, an act of gratitude, an exchange, a cultural association, cultural coexistence. People exchange virtues. But when you start to exchange vice and things from the lower plane, this will set the scene for another situation, another culture. You will be heralding darkness. You'll be inviting dark energies into the society, into the environment. So what you're promoting and what you're trying to give and show should be of the best kind, should be one that leads society and steers society into positiveness. So it was the habit of long ago that people of standard live together, people of certain caliber, they form certain class and they live in gated communities and live in certain sections. The upper class people, the middle class, were those who know a little bit about virtues, they know a little bit about it, they have a little bit of life. But right now we can find that those who belong to the laborer class, they're making life difficult for the upper class, for the middle class. They want energy, they want to enjoy life as these people live. So what they take the energy so that they can experience those fulfillments also. But this is very wrong. You should work for your own. You should be satisfied where you are at in the evolutionary level. I don't go fighting down people who are more evolved than me to take the energy, to taste their energy, to touch or invade or become obsessed with somebody, to take over somebody. This possessiveness is a power of spirits, evil spirits, negative people. So when you do like that, you're setting the stage, you're becoming an evil spirit after you die. So we should learn to be satisfied who we are, to be working progressively to be a better ourselves. In fact, the yogis say if we live a virtuous life, live a spiritual life, in the next life we will get a better birth, a better incarnation. People don't want that. They want everything right away, right now, even at the expense of other people's life, people's dignity, people's welfare, and their own other people's progress and growth, right? They shouldn't upset and try to upset other people's movement in the social, intellectual, or spiritual spheres. These are things that are natural assets of people. So this is how we have systems like Prout and systems that people fight for human rights and fight for values, because we have other people taking away your rights, people taking away what is yours, coming into your breathing space, and even trying to breathe your air, your oxygen, and all these things are not really encouraging, are not really favorable. We have to work for our own energy. We have to be satisfied where we are in the evolutionary level and work up that way. Eat what we have and content with what we have. And in this way, by practicing virtue, God will give more. And mysterious is the ways of God. You might even find yourself transforming a few days, weeks into that highly evolved being you're seeking to be. So life is a mystery, and the outcome of life is a mystery also. We should always practice virtue, morality, especially sex and morality, We have to exercise caution in the everyday world. We just can't go expressing our sexual feelings like that. That's animal do like that. Man is more modest. Mankind is more modest. He's more cautious. He's more circumvent. More, what we should say, quiet. He's more reserved. The animal are more explosive and irrational. They don't think before they act. So do good and good shall follow us is my belief. And I firmly think that the struggle of aspiring people, of good people, will bear fruits one day. Namaskar, Merry Christmas.